Hey y'all, I'm in the woods with the turkey, as in my furball son. My favorite place, away from people and in the woods. Yay. And then I'm in my swing chair. It's a good day. So, wanted to talk to you about some things that criminals have done. I'm sure she thought she was in love, and that led her to a very dangerous, dangerous, dangerous place. I don't know what caused him to do this, but they weren't married. They had 3 children, one of whom was a baby. And he thought it would be a good idea he was abusive to her, period, physically abusive. And she did the typical thing, lying to her parents when they asked her what happened, where'd you get those bruises from, and that sort of thing. I fell, I bumped into this, I did that, the whole bit. Eventually, which it always escalates, it never de-escalates once a certain entity has started to happen. Once, you know, it becomes physical, then it always gets worse. And long story short, she got stabbed to death, and so did all 3 of her children, including the baby. This is why I keep warning you about getting involved with people, because you're so desperate to be with somebody and you see your other friends, especially girls, you see your other friends, with somebody, and you want to be in that situation, and she's bragging about how good he treats her, which may or may not be true. Maybe he's treating her well, maybe he's not. But anytime that you're desperate for something, and I've said this before, this goes for the younger girls and for older women. Anytime you're desperate for something, a predator can smell that a mile away. A predator can smell that a mile away, and they will hone in on you like an eagle hones in on a mouse. This isn't something you want to sign up for just because you want somebody to touch you and kiss you and make you feel good and tell you how pretty you are and all this other. And another thing that a lot of parents need to start doing, instead of encouraging your girls to get in relationships, you need to warn them about getting with the wrong person, especially those of you who have been abused before. You already know what you've been through, and if you don't teach your daughters about it, there's a possibility they'll sign up for that too, unwillingly and subconsciously. So it's your responsibility, especially as mothers, to teach your girls that guys that always are demanding on her phone, calling her constantly, where you been, you don't need to be hanging with them, you need to be with me, blowing up her phone, blowing up her text messages and what have you. That's ownership and possession, which leads to abuse. It always escalates. So I don't know why more women are not teaching their girls this. And on this domestic violence video that I saw, they talked to the judge about we need to have these classes in schools about domestic violence, because women are losing their lives and the children are losing their lives. Innocent babies getting, taken out, and I don't mean to McDonald's. And he said, well, that's not really something, and this is an asinine thing for him to say. Well, that's not really something we want to get into, because that should be taught in the home. How in the hell is that going to be taught in the home when women are keeping it secret that they're being abused, why would they reveal the secret and teach their children about it? That doesn't happen. And I would like to see that incorporated. I would like to see that in homes, but he's assuming the parents are normal parents. Toxic parents aren't going to teach their children about abuse because they're toxic and they don't think normally because they're toxic. So why such an educated man, like a judge, super educated, would say something like that and assume that parents are so responsible is ridiculous. Oh, they're going to teach their kids. Yeah, oh yeah. Because all parents are responsible, right? All parents are normal. All parents are healthy in the head. Classes need to be taught in school, but let's just keep it real. We're gonna keep it real today. The criminal system makes a lot of money off of crime, so there really is no incentive. We're gonna keep it fucking real. There's no real incentive to prevent this from happening, because when it happens, everybody makes money. The judges, the court system, the lawyers, everybody within the system, social workers, everybody within the system gets paid. So there's no incentive to stop this from happening. So it's going to continue. Milo, get over here. Get over here. Thank you. Good boy, good pumpkin. Get over here. On this side. Pardon me, guys. Get over here. Now, thank you. Good boy, good boy. That's a good doggy. That's a good boy. Thank you. There's no incentive for them to prevent these types of crimes from happening because it makes money. A lot of money. Just like there's no cure for cancer. Why do you think there's no cure? And I don't really want to hear, oh, well, we've made a lot of advances. We made a lot of advances to some degree. But certain types of cancers are not only fatal, but can wipe you out real fast. There's no real incentive. We're going to keep it real today. You understand what I'm telling you? There's no incentive to have a cure because it makes entirely too much money. There will never be a cure. No matter what type of cancer it is, there will never be a cure because it makes money. A lot of money. There is zero incentive to cure any type of cancer or prevent it. Zero incentive. Zero. And it's the same thing with the legal system. If your family members die because somebody was vicious to them, so sorry, we offer our condolences. That doesn't fix it. Prevention is the key. I'm watching him, so if I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at him, watching where he thinks he's going. There's no incentive to prevent violence. So it falls on the healthy family members. If the parents are twisted and dysfunctional, it falls on... That's a tricky situation because other family members may want to teach the kids, and then the toxic parents will get mad at them for interfering. Don't be teaching my kids that. Once you mind your own business, you don't tell my kids nothing. So that's an issue. But they need to learn. It needs to be taught in class. Okay? Instead of certain ideologies that are being indoctrinated, we need to teach them about this is how you prevent being taken advantage of by a toxic narcissist. This is how you avoid being abused emotionally, physically, sexually. These are the precautions that you need to take. And once somebody starts blowing up your phone, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Who you talking to? Why you talking to them? Why you friends with that guy? You cheating on me? That constant riding on you with that constant communication, that is ownership and possession. And you know where that leads to? Abuse. It leads to abuse. So when a girl sees that, or an older woman, a woman, girl, makes no difference, teenager, makes no difference. Once you start seeing those red flags, it's time for you to get up out of there. I don't care how much you like him. I don't care how much you think he's the best thing in the world. You got to choose you. You got to choose you. If you remember, there was a guy who was friends with this, was she a cheerleader? She was a cheerleader. He was friends with her. And he decided to violently and viciously take her life in her home. This was becoming so commonplace that it's frightening. And like I said in my other video, I wouldn't be surprised if we're in the last times, because the world is the darkest it's ever been. So we have to educate somewhere along the line. We have to teach. We need to get rid of the stigma. Oh, we can't talk about that. Don't talk about that. We don't want to talk about that in public. We don't want to talk about that amongst our friends. We don't want to talk about that at a family get-together. We don't want to talk about it. We want to stay quiet. That's what gets people murdered. That's what gets people murdered. So, what's the big secret? Would you rather go to that person's funeral, or would you rather talk about what's going on? Because I don't understand why it's so secretive. I know there's a massive shame factor, but even people who are not being abused, they know someone else is being abused, they're still like, yeah, but we don't want to go there. Are you insane? You'd rather go to that person's funeral instead of talking about it, because that's what's going to wind up happening. And girls are abusive too. He probably found another turtle. He's acting like a psycho, so chances are he might have found another turtle. Good Lord. He could find a turtle within a 2-minute radius. Or is that a stick? What does he have? Milo, come here. Bring it here. Excuse me, guys. Come here, bring it. Bring it here. Bring it to me. That's what I figured. What? No, wait a minute. That's not... What is that? Bring it here. I'm sorry, y'all. Bring it here. Drop it. Drop it. I don't know what he has. Hey! Get up here. Get up here. Drop it. What is that? What the hell is that? It's a stick or something. I don't know. It's not what I thought it was. Okay. You're good. You're good. You're okay. Anyway. I don't know why it's so secretive. I don't understand. You know, but see, the thing of it is, with traumatic situations, it not only brings shame on the victim, which it's shame reversal. So the person who's committing these atrocious acts to someone else, they should be ashamed. But instead of them being ashamed, the victim ends up ashamed. You know what I mean? And that needs to be reversed. What is that? Give me that. Give me that. What is that? That's what I thought it was. No. That's gross, Milo. Ew. Go find a stick. Go get a stick. I'm going to beat him half to death. Anyway, so there's shame transference. The shame gets transferred from the evil person to the victim, and then the people that know the victim have shame about it too and embarrassment about it, so they're like, you better open your mouth, because you could either put that person in a casket, in a box, or you can open your mouth and talk about it. Which do you prefer? And get that person out of that situation. And because your brain messes with you, it leads you to believe that you are so in love with this person that you cannot live without them. Thank you, oxytocin and dopamine in the brain. Thank you so much for this false reality of can't survive without this person. Okay? You're so high that you you're convinced you can't live without them. When you realize that it's biochemical, you can use your brain where all of these hormones are being released. You could use your logical part of your brain to override that BS and realize that your life is in danger. Your life is in danger because you're already seeing the red flags. You don't want to dig in the box through the red flags to find a green one, and that one green one, you use that to justify being with this individual. Okay? So we got to stop being so secretive. We got to support each other. And we just got to stop the secrets because that's not helpful to anybody. In fact, it helps the predator. Helps them get away with it. You're helping the person who's terrible, which is not really what you want to do. All right? Something to think about. Women, not only teach your girls and your boys about domestic violence and relationship violence and warning signs, but you also need to teach your boys to be independent so that they don't have to constantly have a woman because he can't control his hormones. Your biggest sex organ is your brain. I don't want to hear how hot you are. If you're so hot that you got to grab somebody off the street and do them right now because that's how desperate you are, you need to go to the hospital because something's wrong with you. Intellectuality stops that. Your brain is your biggest sex organ. So you're only as hot as you think you are. So boys need to be taught to control their hormones, control their common sense. Take matters into your own hands, boys, if that's what you got to do, so that you don't feel desperate to manipulate someone, pretend you love them, and go through this whole charade just to get access to their body. Come on now, that's got to stop too. We have to teach our boys how to cook, how to clean, how to sew a button on a damn shirt. Things that only girls are taught, which boys need to be taught that too, because there's no such thing anymore of gender roles, really. I've worked in the yard. I've cut grass before. I mean, taking out the trash. I mean, things that are traditionally for the man to do. I've done those. I mean, if it's something that needs to be done, it's just something that needs to be done. It's not necessarily designated to a certain gender. Cooking is for girls and cutting the grass is for boys. No, not necessarily. But if the guy normally does it in your relationship, he's cool with it, then let him do it. But boys need to be taught how to be independent so they could stop using women. Although they'll use them anyway, but, for the physical, because they can't control themselves. If you teach them from a young age that you don't use your body as a weapon and you don't manipulate people out of their clothes, no matter how hard your hormones are pulsing through your body, then, we'll be better off as a society, because a lot of problems happen around their lack of control. In addition to toxicity, but anyway. And boys need to be taught, not just girls, but boys need to be taught about relationship violence too. So, I mean, that's just how it is. We have to protect our children because there's certain entities that don't want them protected. They want them hypersexualized, which is what a pedophile wants, and they want them indoctrinated. I suggest if you have the financial ability to take your children out of school, that you do that. Take them out of school, get them tutored, follow the regulations of the state that you happen to live in, get them educated, and get them the hell up out of there. I cannot be more serious than I am right now about that. All right? I love you guys. Take care. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye.